Hello and welcome to another video. My name is TGH Travels and today I'll be continuing my World Railway Voyage podcast and talking about the country of Mongolia. So without further ado, let's get started. So we took the sleeper across Siberia from Moscow in Russia, and then we crossed south into Mongolia, which is the next country on our route. So Mongolia is actually the most sparsely populated country in the world. Its history dates back for many years, including 1206 where Genghis Khan founded the Mongol Empire, becoming the largest contiguous land empire. His grandson conquered countries like China, creating the Yuan dynasty. After the collapse of the Yuan, the Mongols fled back to Mongolia, which was then absorbed by the Qing dynasty, which we know today as China. The Qing dynasty collapsed in 1911, thus started the Mongolian Revolution. This lasted for 10 years until Mongolia finally gained independence in 1921, and its current constitution was established in 1992. So if it's Monday, it must be Mongolia. So we arrived in Mongolia on a Monday, which is where that saying came from. And the sleeper arrived in the capital of Mongolia, Ulaanbaatar. And there are around 1.6 million inhabitants in Ulaanbaatar. It's its largest city. Everyone else is sparsely populated across the country, and some living in Gers and yurts. We'll be talking about that in a bit. So this is the museum in Ulaanbaatar, which talks about its history, its culture, the traditions in Mongolia, its national identity. So it talks about its flag, it talks about the socialist influence that they had. So for example, in the socialist era, it had a star on the flag, but that has been removed since 1992. And here are some of the musical instruments, some of the models that they had, and here in the bottom left hand corner is what a Mongol soldier would have looked like on horseback. The Mongolian landscape is very mountainous from where we were. There were lots of mountains, there were lots of valleys. We were very high up in Mongolia. So we saw some of the temples because it's quite a spiritual, important place for people who worship like Buddhism or Hinduism and other religions. And we saw some of the wildlife, which we'll be talking about in a bit. So here's more photographs of us. Here's me sort of lying down among some flowers. We crossed over a bridge. And we saw some of the cattle. So here's a cow sort of munching away. And we saw some of the temples. Now here is the Ger, also known as a yurt. And I brought, again, my mascot across the world with me. And here she is standing next to this Ger. Now these Gers are like round tents insulated with skins or felt. They have like proper beds in them. They have everything that a family would need, and they have like furnaces, like proper steps into the Gers. Their use dates back to 2000 years, so they're quite an ancient use from humans. And the Gers spread throughout the height of the Mongol Empire in the 13th century. These are designed to be set up and taken down relatively quickly because people would travel from one place to another. Here is the Mongolian horse. It is a native breed to Mongolia, hence its name. These creatures can adapt to summer temperatures of 30 degrees and then all the way down to minus 40 degrees centigrade. These have been historically recorded to be used during the Mongol Empire. We did have fermented mare's milk, which is processed into a national beverage. And these creatures are used for riding, transport, daily work by nomads, horse racing, and even their meat. So people do eat horse meat in Mongolia. And we saw some yaks. These are native to the area, and they are designed to adapt to the cold, which is why when we went in summer, this one had been shorn. So the term is actually used for both sexes, while a bull is a male and a cow for a female. We saw plenty of birds of prey, including the Eurasian black vulture, which is the one I got to hold in this picture here. Incredible experience, one I'll never forget. Its wingspan can go up to 3.1 meters, so a really, really big bird. And we also have the golden eagle, which hunts hares, rabbits and marmots. A female can lay up to 4 eggs per hatching season. And here are some of the clothing that I got to try on in one of the tourist shops. I got to try on some of the traditional clothing that they have in Mongolia. So the headwear is a traditional fur Urashka hat, and the vest is from a red fox. And as I said, you can buy if you want, but I wasn't tempted. But it's designed for the harsh cold, so during the winter months. Again, we went during summer. Here is the Genghis Khan statue and the gate that we went through to visit the Genghis Khan statue. Here is a picture of Genghis Khan, which was drawn for him. He was the founder and first Khan of the Mongol Empire, so his last name is actually a title. Khan means king in that sort of culture. He conquered China and parts of Central Asia. Again, the Mongol Empire was the second largest empire in the world. The British Empire holds the title for the largest empire in history. He died in 1227 and launched a 4-year campaign against the Jin dynasty, resulting in victory. He is a controversial figure. Others remember him as a hero. Others see him as a tyrant. In Mongolia, he was seen as a national hero, and people talked about him like we would talk about Winston Churchill. And here are a few more photographs. You could actually climb onto the horse's back that he was on and climb up and have a closer look at him. So I managed to get these photographs up close of Genghis Khan. And we also had a photograph next to the statue from further distance. So we came across camels on our journey, and we did have a camel ride, which I'll talk about in a bit. Here is a photograph in the top right of us with the Mongolian people and a family, also with our tour guide. And we came across some camels, and we came across the experience of trying to milk camels. So here is a photo of Mum milking a camel. And here's me drinking fermented camel milk. We also explored the Gobi Desert. Now, these camels are used as ancient caravans along the Silk Road. The Silk Road was an important trading route that people used to travel across and still sort of travel across. So it's been segmented in human history. And here I am riding a camel in the Gobi Desert. And it was incredible. I do like deserts. You feel like an adventurer when you travel on a camel across the desert. It's a really amazing experience. If you haven't ridden a camel before, I recommend you do ride a camel. And here is our last day in Mongolia. So this was the last leg of our trip. And this was also the last trip we would be using railways to travel across the world. From then onwards, we would have to use planes. So this is the last section of the railway. Here's me outside my Ger. I had a little deck chair that I got to sit in while spending my last night in the Ger. It was really comfortable. Again, amazing experience. And this here is a national park where there were more birds of prey. And in the next video, we will be talking about China, which is the next country on this route. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate your time. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and be sure to comment on what you thought. So thank you very much for watching. This is TGH Travels signing off.